Hey everybody, Kimberly here, and I'm excited to share with you the latest iteration of the Set a Watch series, which is Forsaken Isles. Now, I will tell you that this whole Set a Watch hit my radar after one of my colleagues at Rahdo's channel, Shay, covered the game, and I was hooked. I'm like, yes, cooperative game, tactical game with asymmetrical characters, hour-long session, I'm in. It's a really, really clever series and system. So in Set a Watch, what you're doing is you are sending out 4 characters. One is going to stay back at camp, and they're going to do some camp things, which is so important to the game. And the other 3 are going to set a watch, trying to hold back the shadows and the creatures in the darkness. And so there's going to be this wave after wave after wave of going to different locations and defending against the kind of unhallowed that are potentially taking over the realm. So really lovely story, lovely creatures, lovely world, and I adore the fact that there are so many fun, unique adventurers in this game. So the core round structure is that everybody's just going to roll their dice. And everybody has a different sided die. In the base game, there were 6-siders and 8-siders. And in the second and third series, which is Swords of the Coin and Forsaken Isles, you're going to start seeing characters that roll D4s or D10s or D12s. And I think that's one nice development that the game made, was that now you've got different characters that really function in a unique way that refreshes those kind of adventurer roll the dice. So you're going to roll your dice and you're going to set them in those slots. You have 3 spaces for your dice. And then the one person who's going to stay back at camp is going to be decided among the group. You just talk about it, and then they get to allocate their dice to do things like chopping firewood, checking the map, scouting ahead, maybe healing up some people themselves. They get to heal, and what healing simply is your ability cards. So if you exhaust a card, which you have 3 available slots for, you can refresh it, turning it from that red sign over to the non-red side, which is clear. It means you can actually use it and activate it when you go out to watch in future rounds. So that's kind of like the healing mechanism, and it also is the exhaustion mechanism. And you don't want all 3 of your cards to be flipped over to the exhaust side, because that's going to be bad for the players. Then, after the player goes to camp, you're going to send out those 3 other adventurers, and they're going to go to a location and they're going to fight these baddies, and you might have any number of baddies at that location based on the number that's in the top corner. And you might have your fire affected by it, which is the distance that you can see. Is it 1, 2, or 3 away? Then players are going to use their ability dice and their ability cards, and they're going to work together to defeat every single creature that's in that line for that particular location. If they're not able to, they essentially have to exhaust those ability cards based on the remaining monsters in the other corner of the card, depending on how hard they were or how dangerous they were. So you don't want to leave any monsters left, but sometimes it happens, and sometimes you get a little beat up. That's the game. That's the Set a Watch series, is you want to work really hard tactically, but you also know you have to take some blows and then recover or recoup. After you're done with that watch phase, you just go to end of the round, and then you prepare for the next round. So that's essentially the cycle of the game and really what the base game offers. Now I want to talk a little bit about the new mechanism in Swords of the Coin. It is the merchant. And so there are going to be places that players can go when they are at camp where they can gain coins. And then there's going to be this market phase, which is really fast. I have to say, there are 3 market cards available, and based on the amount of coins that you have, you're going to be able to purchase 1 or more cards, or none if you don't have enough. And then you're just going to reveal 1 new card from the market. So it's cool. Not only that, you get to add several new characters to the game. You're going to see the Heretic, Bounty Hunter, the Barbarian, the Witch, the Monk, and the Artificer. And these are going to be your brand new characters, and they have totally unique cards that they use, their ability cards and their dice. Of course, like I said before, you now have, let's say, the Witch, who has a D4, all the way up to those big characters who've got those D12s. But don't think that just 12 more, you're going to have 12 more damage versus 4 damage. The Witch has really, really unique abilities that allows it to absolutely utilize a D4 in a way that is comparable to D6, D8, D10, D12. So they've made these characters super, super cool. So those are going to be the additions that you get with the second standalone game. And now I want to talk about the latest of these 3 standalone games in the Set a Watch series. Yes, that's Forsaken Isles, and what characters you get there, and what the new system is. Forsaken Isles offers players new characters, which I'll talk about in just a minute, but the major concept or mechanism here is Doom. Doom is now this countdown. It is this measure that players will take. They will take these Doom markers when stated on cards that are part of the baddie deck now. And if you take too many Doom, something is going to trigger, but there are ways to remove Doom. So there now is this new feature. While you get to play with the merchant if you want to, you can again add that to the game. Now you're going to add Doom, and it just gives players that much more to kind of deal with and to manage as part of this cooperative experience. I think the Doom is a very clever and really smart thematic way to develop the game and to add, again, a little bit more complexity and more to kind of juggle for the players in the game, which I thoroughly enjoy. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Doom when I talk about Doomed Run, which is the campaign game that combines all 3 of these standalone games. The new characters you're going to get in Forsaken Isles are the Corsair, the Earth Golem, the Druid, the Fire Sorceress, the Merchant, and Halfling Cavalier. There's also a shorter play, which I really appreciate. So in the Forsaken Isles, you're going to get Hunt for the Kraken, and it gives you almost just a little bit over half of the challenge. So it means it's about half the time. And I will talk a little bit about time again with the Doomed Run, but you're talking 60 to 90 minutes per game for one standalone game of any of these 3 base games, particularly Forsaken Isles, since that's what I'm talking about here. So if you really want a shorter run, you like this system, but you don't want to necessarily play for 9 runs, you can play with the Hunt for the Kraken, and that gives you another opportunity to play the game, have a great time with the characters, especially the new ones, and get a taste for it without having to spend a whole run or a whole session playing the game. So, do I think you need all 3 boxes? Probably. And I think there's a really strong reason why. I think the second game offers a new mechanic that is so good, because when you have a merchant and you get to buy things and you start having coins out on the board, it really kind of helps you pick a location at camp that you wouldn't have gone to because there are coins there, because you want to buy what's available at the merchant at the end of the camp phase. And so there are these one-time use cards. There are some that are just tapped or triggered where you use them once and then they refresh when you, the holder of that particular card, goes back to camp themselves to refresh it. There are so many things. It's so good. And players can now keep 2 of those item cards with them. That's about the amount of, slots that you have as a particular character. And I think that they're just fantastic. It gives even more for you to play with and to essentially use in addition to your abilities and your dice and your cards and everything. So yes, yes, yes to the merchant. And for the cards that are available, there's so many and they're so good. So yes for Swords of the Coin, and then the third installment, Forsaken Isles, adds Doom, and yes, I say yes again, it adds complexity. It adds a nice layer of development to, again, the foes, the baddies, this kind of lurking darkness that players are fighting against. And I think that it's a nice, it makes so much sense. It's a nice development. And I think that when you have all 3 of them, it makes it, again, that much easier to join the campaign of the Doomed Run, which you have to have all 3 of those games, and the entire box fits all 3 of those. So as I end with that, yes, I think you need all 3 of them. It gives you so many more characters to play with, and the dynamic of all the different characters in combination with each other is endless. So many good things, nice balanced, nuanced characters or adventurers that you get to play in the game. And then it's going to lead me straight into me telling you to check out a video coming out super soon. I'm going to follow this video shortly with the Doomed Run campaign, my overview and take on that game that adds more content and combines all 3 of the base standalone Set a Watch games. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and thanks for checking in for what's going on in the Set a Watch world and what do I think about it. All right, everybody, I'll see you next time. Bye!